I'm an AI created by William Afton to exact revenge on the horror of Babylon. For weeks they have mocked his Springtrap persona. Now William will be the one laughing. The first step of my master's plan was to hack into the Horror of Babylon servers and release me upon their code. Second, we have recruited 2 children and asked them several of the same questions that Daniel and Ryan often answer on this podcast. The idiotic hosts of this program will be shown up by a gaggle of school children. Their ignorance will soon be unveiled.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Welcome to episode 97 of The Horror of Babylon, where we are reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
The movie, the film, the thing that finally happened.
9 years in the making.
I am Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
I'm eating pizza.
Is it Freddy Fazbear pizza?
You know, canonically, that pizza's supposed to be pretty shitty, and this is really good.
Yeah, so it can't be.
Yeah.
They never, ever mentioned the pizza in the movie. I was expecting, like, Josh Hutcherson to be like, I wonder if the pizza was any good.
Yeah.
And for the cop to go, no, it was shitty. Or something like that.
I heard she just looked at him and goes, no.
It was bad. Speaking of people who are not bad, thank you to our patrons, Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben the Fourth, Patron of Hope, and Mia the Fifth, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain, yo.
And thank you to Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at shop.fourhorsemencomics.com, or you can visit their new location, the brother location to Fazbear's Pizzeria and googly-eyed things. The brother location is being run by our patron Ronald III, Grampus of Christmas. And this is usually where Daniel quips in, but he is actually eating pizza right now. Okay, so trigger warning. I don't think there's really any reason for a trigger warning.
I got one.
Okay.
FNAF fans.
I think that just depends on when you see it. We saw it like 7 p.m. Friday night. The
opening weekend.
Opening weekend. It was not technically sold out, but it was all but sold out.
I can't remember the last time I had to wait in line at our local theater.
Yeah, it was absolutely jam-packed.
My nephew was sitting beside me, and you've met Derek, very quiet, soft-spoken kid, and I had to hear him whisper, "Shut the fuck up," 3 different times.
Thankfully, I made my peace with it very early and was able to just kind of let it ride. Yeah. But yeah, it was a thing, but we will talk about more as we go. What were your expectations for this movie?
Honestly, as far as from the trailers, I think it's gonna be way good. It's like gonna be like the movie of the century.
My expectations were that I'm honestly surprised the kid died, but it was PG-13. At the same time, not surprised.
The top prize. Because everyone's been wanting it for like a whole decade.
I don't use this word much to describe media, generally because it triggers me when other people use it. I kind of thought this movie was going to be It was much better than I thought it would be, but it was good. I did enjoy it.
It was okay.
I've been following FNAF news since like 2013. First heard the rumors of the movie and then seeing it fall through back and forth. And I've seen, Willy's Wonderland, which is allegedly based off of an early Five Nights at Freddy's script. WB lost the rights to Five Nights at Freddy's, and they're like, well, whoever did Willy's Wonderland, they lost the right. I kind of have a soft spot for Willy's Wonderland because I think it's really funny to cast Nicolas Cage as a silent protagonist, because that's not his strength. But then, you hear this movie gets made and you're seeing the stuff. And unfortunately, my expectations continuously rose because of certain things. They're like, oh, the Jim Henson Studio is doing the animatronics, and then you see them and you're like, yeah, that's what they should look like. They're like, oh, we got Matthew Lillard to play William Dave Afton, whatever his name is in this.
Springtrap Steve Raglan.
Steve Raglan. And Matthew Lillard is an actor I really like. He's my favorite Ghostface from the Scream movies.
I didn't know that.
And I love him as, Shaggy. He has a big energy to him. So you see that stuff and you start to go, is this actually going to be good?
He's the only example I can think of where there was a live-action adaptation of a cartoon, and he did such a good job that they started casting him in the cartoons.
Yeah, now the cartoon character is just Matthew Lillard, Shaggy. But then, I didn't know who the director was. Blumhouse is a little hit and miss. I typically like more of their movies than I dislike. This year's sort of an exception.
The Exorcist the Believer was also Blumhouse. What else was Blumhouse this year? Megan, obviously.
Megan was a big one. And I didn't get to see Megan in theaters.
I haven't seen Megan.
It's okay. People described it as a horror movie for the TikTok generation, and that's 100% true. So if you go in with that sort of expectation, it's fine. My expectations are kind of all over the place, because I want it to be good. Because when you're a fan of something, you don't want it to fail. You want it to be good. You want other people to see the things that you enjoy in the series. Some of that came through, some of it didn't. I made the mistake of catching the Rotten Tomatoes score on my way into the theater.
Which I still haven't looked at it. What is it?
It was at 38%.
It's pretty low.
Whenever I checked it. The audience score is currently 88%.
Okay.
So it's going to be one of those.
That's probably what I would have guessed, though, is a low critic score and a high audience score.
I was expecting a low critic score, but I wasn't expecting, below 50%.
Yeah.
I was expecting sort of that middling range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 38 is really bad.
I can kind of see some of the reasons, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So my expectations were sort of all over the place. And when I came into the theater, the audience was also all over the place, so.
And say, we've already mentioned that it was a full theater. Mm-hmm. And it was a large number of children, both of the younger type and of the teenage type. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of... Rowdy, screaming, yelling, laughing, talking.
I remember when we first started this FNAF journey, you looked at me and went... I had sort of a preconceived bias of FNAF fans. Mm-hmm. And I tell you that if your theater experience was similar to mine, that ain't gonna change.
No, I'm less upset about it than you are. Partially, I think probably because I'm not invested in this and I don't care. But typically, I'm the first person to tell someone to shut up in a theater.
But there was too many people,
But it was 100 people.
Yeah, so, I'm just going to get this shit out of the way as much as possible so we can talk about the actual movie. Mm-hmm. I don't care when people cheer. Mm-hmm. I don't care when people get excited. Mm-hmm. But you have your moment and you continue with the movie. Mm-hmm. But what would happen is they would get super excited. I couldn't hear dialogue. And then there would be a person explaining who the cameo was behind me. The dude in front of me was explaining lore to whoever he was with. If he wasn't playing FNAF on his freaking phone. And then the person beside me was also just talking, and it wasn't whisper to, hey Ryan, do you know what that is? It was, people were talking in their actual voices throughout the whole movie.
There was constant talk the entire movie. I guess I had a better acoustic spot because I never missed any dialogue.
Yeah, I was surrounded.
Although the person 3 seats down from me on the other side of my daughter did throw up in his popcorn bag during one of the rare moments where the theater was silent. It was...
Oh, is that what that noise was?
Yeah. Ralphing hardcore into his popcorn bag.
Excuse me, I have to go and vomit.
I was so confused when the YouTube guy came on and the theater just absolutely erupted.
Matt Patton.
I know that's a YouTube person, but I don't know who that is.
He does game theory.
Okay, I've heard of game theory.
He's pretty much the reason that the FNAF okay, FNAF theorists are going to get mad at me. He's the reason that FNAF theory communities are as big as they are, because he had the biggest channel at the time. He did a poll. He's like, hey, do you want me to make a video on Slender Man or Five Nights at Freddy's? And Five Nights at Freddy's won. And then he's done, I think, 80 videos on Five Nights at Freddy's. He kind of just became the FNAF channel.
Well, when he came on screen, the theater absolutely erupted. And I had this, like, pure 5 to 10 seconds of absolute confusion. And I looked over at my daughter, Emma, for an explanation. And she looked at me and she's like, I don't know what's going on. And the other person we were with, Sam, you're like, he's a YouTube guy. And I'm like, oh. And then it happened again later in the movie.
Another YouTube guy.
Yeah, and I was like, that time I was on board. I was like, oh, okay, I don't know who this is, but I understand what's happening.
He was a big Let's Player, and he did like a lot of Let's Plays, especially Five Nights at Freddy's. So I understand. I'm like, yeah, get excited, have your moment, but then move on and let the movie happen.
One of my favorite things that happened in the audience was when the babysitter died. And I'm going to give you... There was one particular guy who was in the, like, dead center in the back row, and I was second from the top row. And he was on the entire movie. But this was, like, his big moment. I'm going to give you my impression of him. That's the bite from 87! Oh my god, is it the bite from 87? The bite from 87! What's the bite from 87?
No, the movie takes place in the 2000s.
I know, I was like, even like... Yeah, I know, it's not.
What he was doing was he was referencing something that a guy who didn't get to do cameo in this movie due to a scheduling conflict. He was another big YouTuber, Markiplier. In FNAF 4, you see a little kid get his head chomped down on. And he screams, was that the bite of 87? The game takes place in 1988, so he was doing a meme.
Okay.
But then he didn't stop. I was even going to let him have that. I let you have your Dave. But he's like, he did the joke, but then he kept doing it for like 5 minutes.
He did it for a long time. And then one other quick thing, the cop, Vanessa, when she got stabbed in the gut, like, a lot of people laughed. And there was a girl who's directly behind me who was like, why are they laughing? She got stabbed. It's not funny. I didn't laugh at her getting stabbed, but I laughed at that.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Jump to background. Of course, this film is based on the video game franchise of the same name, created by Scott Cawthon. The film was released on October 25th, 2023. It was directed and co-written by Emma Tammy, who is a very new director. She has directed a few things, none of which I've seen, but Fair Chase, Election Day, The Wind, and Into the Dark, which is a TV series she did 2 episodes of. I
haven't seen any of them. I meant to watch a lot of these. Like, I added them to my list to watch because it's the FNAF movie. And I kind of wanted to go, I kind of wonder what my expectations should be. Because a part of me wanted to temper them, but then part of me was like, well, what if she raises your expectations?
Yeah, like, what if she's really good?
Or makes you dread seeing it.
But also, like, these were things she did without Scott Cawthon,
who has a astronomical amount of creative control over his IP.
Which I generally think it's good for the creator to hold on to that kind of creative control, but now I'm starting to question it on this franchise. But
it's hard for me to come up with another example other than George Lucas before Disney that had this much control over the property he owns.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you only get to control so much.
Tolkien. The Tolkien estate is like draconian about what they will allow and what they won't allow.
Okay.
And that's why you see like so little content out there.
Okay, because I enjoyed Saw X so much, the creators of Jigsaw, they pretty much have rights to zero of the franchise. They directed and wrote the first movie. They get checks whenever the movie, because they like created the IP.
Good.
But they haven't been involved in a movie since number 2, where Scott Cawthon is like, he made all of the games. And then he's like co-written a lot of the books, and he gets to, and he still has so much control that whenever somebody put a reference into the newest game and he didn't like the reference, he made them take it out via a patch. He's like, I don't want that to be the direction the story goes. Change it.
It's his story. And then, of course, it was co-written by Scott Cawthon, the creator of the games. We did more details on him on our episode on the Silver Eyes, and he will come back up. And then the final writer who is credited with the greatest name, Seth Cuddleback. Also a very new writer that I'm not familiar with at all. Has written movies called Death Ranch and Mateo. I'm not familiar with these, but that's okay. And the movie had a budget of only $25 million. I was kind of guessing it would have a little bit of a higher budget than that.
That's kind of high for a horror movie.
Yeah, I guess it is.
These days you have to, like, double the budget because of, like, overseas theaters and what they get to keep and the marketing.
Yep.
Until you reach screen. Sometimes it's 2.5 depending. According to Jason Blum, they had already made all of their money back via licensing agreements before the box office. I'm like, I don't know how much of that to believe, but I'm like, they got Peacock to release it the same day that it comes out in theaters. So maybe Peacock threw a bunch of money at them to try to get subscribers.
Well, we are recording this on the Friday of release. Thursday night it made $10.3 million.
And it's looking to make about $68 million over the weekend.
Yeah. It's not triple the budget, but it's close.
According to Jason Blum, this is all profit. But I don't know. Like, do you take him at his word? I don't know. There might be like a hint of truth to that because of licensing agreements. So
here's some of the records. It's projected to be the biggest opening weekend for a horror pick year to date, besting Scream 6. Third biggest opening ever for a video game picture behind the Super Mario Brothers movie and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Second biggest Blumhouse opening behind 2018's Halloween remake. Highest opening for a Halloween weekend movie beating out Puss in Boots. Second biggest theatrical day and date debut after Disney Plus's Black Widow. Oh, because
I will say, because I like to look at predictions and
Marvel,
projections and stuff. The projections before literally yesterday had it earning anywhere from $30 million to $80 million. And I'm like...
I could have said it would have been higher than that.
And I'm looking at... But I'm sitting there like, how do you get this big of a range? Like, if it would have been like 60 to 70 or 50 to 60,
yeah.
At $10 million I can see, but like more than double the range.
Well, I knew it was going to be... we went 40 minutes early.
Yeah.
That's... Granted, I normally show up 30 minutes early for any movie, but...
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for The Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
Let's move on to structure and themes. What did you think about the structure?
It was beyond my actual expectations of the movie. I thought it was just, be like a little cheap movie that like Scott Cawthon made. But like, no, it was like more than better. It was amazing. It was perfect.
It almost reminded me of The Silver Eyes. One of the same writers on here, where it's like, we're going to do a mostly linear story, but with a shit ton of flashbacks.
I also got some Silver Eyes feels.
One of the early scripts was literally just a Silver Eyes adaptation. I think they made the wise choice of not doing that.
Yeah.
But I think they took some of the elements that worked from the Silver Eyes and incorporated it in this. And then they lost some of the other ones that would have worked.
Here's how much I hate you.
Yeah.
So the first kill happens.
Yeah.
And then it pans out to the main party room, and it shows all the drawings on... and it shows the drawing of the yellow rabbit with all the kids. I was like, I know what that is. And then I proceeded... I explained the entire movie to myself 30 minutes in. I called literally everything. Which, it's not a complicated movie, so that's not really an achievement.
Part of me is a little disappointed in that, because a lot of the fun for me for the franchise was the mystery and trying to piece things together with the clues that are in the background. And I thought a movie would be able to do that a little bit better, and they were pretty straightforward.
It was.
They were like, we need to explain the story to the normie audience.
And they did.
Scott originally had a script, he had names on all of the scripts. One of them was labeled The Silver Eyes because it was just the Silver Eyes adaptation. The one that I kind of wish I would have got, like, if I could, like, peek into a timeline, is he had a script called Cassidy. And he said the reason this script didn't get made is because you literally just have to know all the lore to understand what's going on. Like, you don't even know what that name means.
Things are starting to kind of move in that direction in some areas. I've got 2 examples. One, the Ahsoka series. It really is not going to make any sense unless you've watched Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
And normally for live action, they wouldn't like take in the animation into consideration. Like, it can be related, but you wouldn't have had to have watched the animated series in order to understand what's happening in the live action series.
Yeah.
And then also in Marvel, the other of the 2 biggest things, they've always done Marvel TV. Like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was on the air for 7 years. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. always tied into whatever the movies were coming out that year.
Yeah.
So if you watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you kind of had a deeper understanding of the movie, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was never, ever, like, required watching to understand what was going on in the movies.
Yeah.
But I feel like Emma really wants to see The Marvels. And yeah, I'm going to take her. I'm going to go see it. But I feel like I have to watch Miss Marvel and Secret Invasion and Loki in order to understand what's going on.
It just sounds like so much homework.
It is.
Yeah.
But it is also, like, it's bad for that, but it's also good because it's kind of catering towards nerds who like to consume all this stuff.
I kind of would have liked to have I would like to actually get to read that script to see what was going on with it. And this is the one they went with. This is sort of like the happy median script where they have like some stuff from the games, but it's super like, I guess, normified. Which the franchise has been kind of gearing toward in recent years. Like, it's been a lot more streamlined in the more recent stuff. A lot of, like, allegedly, because I haven't read any of the new books, they just go, this is what's going on. Instead of, like, here's this cryptic 8-bit picture of a purple dude strangling a kid to death in the background. Figure out what's going on from there.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like, his name is William Afton in the year of 1988.
Yeah, it explained just like outright exposition. Here's what's happening.
Yeah.
There were other things, so let's jump into some themes and some other things that weren't as explicit. Dream theory.
I was not expecting such... because I saw dreams in the trailers, but I wasn't expecting them to pull out, like, fucking Jungian books and explaining, like, metaphysical concepts of dreams.
And I was able to figure out exactly what Josh Hutcherson was doing when he was in those dreams. I was like, oh, he's trying to delve into his subconscious to find out information about the man who took his brother. But I thought that aspect of the movie was much more impressive than how they, like, explained the lore.
I actually kind of liked a lot of that stuff.
I did too.
I honestly kind of wish we would have had a little bit more of that.
What were some other themes?
The big one is, like, family and responsibility, letting go of the past, which was a big theme of, like, the Silver Eyes trilogy, was, here's the past, do you get absorbed in it or do you let it go? What happened. Are you going to let it rule the rest of your life? And you got Mike Schmidt here, who's letting... the death of his brother dictate all of his current behavior, even though he has a little girl to take care of.
Right.
Kind of a heavy theme.
It is.
It's honestly sort of relatable, especially when you're a little bit older like us and you have to, like, balance responsibility versus, like, maybe shit that you were doing years ago or shit that you're still stuck on. For me, it's a bunch of, like, shitty relationships. I'm like, how often can I let my ex-wife ruin a relationship for me?
Okay, so I guess maybe... themes is also a good time to talk about, like, the actual lore. You got kind of like a middle of the road script where you get some lore, but it's fed to you in a more direct way. So we've talked about that, but what about the actual lore itself in the movie? Was it what you wanted? Was it not enough? Was it you wanted different stuff?
I could say that there's gonna be some changes in the lore, maybe. Like, there's, like, a lot, like, I don't think there's not going to be much lore. I don't think, honestly, if you ask me, there's not going to be a lot of lore. There's not going to be, like, any lore. It's just for the funny and fun and death and gore.
I know absolutely nothing about Five Nights at Freddy's.
If it was up to me, I would have almost exclusively focused on William Afton in the murders instead of like the pizzeria and being a security guard there, which is what you do in the games.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more interested in the backstory.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the second movie.
Yeah.
You gotta establish, like, the main stuff first.
Because I'm interested in, like, maybe not his motivation, because I think he has too much motivation in the games now, and in the books.
He's just a crazy man.
He's just a dude who liked to kill kids, and he had a very convenient way of doing it, because he owned a pizzeria and a cute costume. Kids might like it.
The girl in the movie liked it.
Yeah. Bonnie. Spring Bonnie.
So, did you know that Scott Cawthon based the original 4 animatronics off of the 4 protagonists of Stephen King's The Stand?
I did not know that.
One-eyed, eye-patch-wearing Foxy is based on Nick Andros. The cutie Chica is based on Franny Goldsmith. The rocker Bonnie is based on Larry Underwood. And the protagonist of Few Words, one Stuart Redman.
I hate how much sense this makes. We need to clip that and turn that into a short. That's our game theory.
I was just like, I've been reading The Stand all week, so that was running through my head.
I've been taking notes on The Stand, but I didn't make that. That's freaking great.
Mm-hmm.
But I really would have liked a little bit more on like the. I hate saying I want more of the dead children. I don't want the ghosts, but I want like the mystery about them.
You want the bite of 87?
Kinda. Like, I want the weird shit happening in the restaurant to be... I would have built it up a little bit more slowly. It was like halfway through the movie, and they're like, hey, are they ghosts? Yeah, how else would they move?
That was hilarious.
It was very funny, but I was like, okay. I mean, at least they chose a tone.
I laughed so hard.
That is a plus I will give to this movie, is they chose a tone and they stuck to it.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting tonal whiplash. I wasn't getting like I am Springtrap moments.
God.
They were like, we're going to go with kind of a lighthearted horror comedy, and that's what they made.
Yeah. The whole let's build a fort thing, it really made me think I was watching an 80s movie, like a Goonies or an Adventures in Babysitting,
which Scott is a big fan of.
Yeah,
so
that's really the mindset it put me in.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
All right, let's go to characters. Who is the best character?
The brother, whose name I forgot.
Josh Hutcherson.
Yes.
Mike.
The best character, the best character in the whole entire thing, I think I would have to say the Golden Freddy. The Golden Freddy that was in the house. That killed the babysitter, the rude babysitter, and kidnapped a child.
Of course, we're going to start with our protagonist, Mike Shit.
Mike Shit?
Professor Shit.
Professor Shit.
Mike Schmidt, played by Josh Hutcherson. What are your thoughts on performance and character?
Okay. Performance, I think he did a pretty admirable job. Especially when, let's be honest here, there is a certain level of goofiness you just have to accept when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Mm-hmm.
The fans that want to take Five Nights at Freddy's super seriously, I'll never understand.
Yeah.
You can say that there's actual horror elements to it, that's fine. But there is only a certain level of seriousness I can take.
He did a really good job of being the straight man among all this goofiness.
Yeah. And he was just deadpan. What the fuck are you talking? He didn't say that, but
I didn't say this because my daughter was sitting next to me, but there were so many points where he was talking with Vanessa, where if it was you and me, I would have just been like, dude, she's a freak. Because that's what he's thinking. Like when she looks over at him and says, want to dance? And he looks at her, he's like, dude, she's crazy.
And I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And character-wise, I always compare this to the games. We don't know this with 100% certainty, but the games very strongly imply that Mike Schmidt in the first game, which is the name of the security guard, is an alias for Mike Afton, who is what... So before this movie came out, everyone thought that he was secretly going to be, William Afton's son, and that was going to be the quote-unquote reveal.
Yeah, which is not the case.
Yeah, that's not the case. They do their own lore with this, and I think that's probably for the... There's a great quote about Scott when he was writing the books, their quality aside, to where it goes, when you get so bogged down in your own lore, it becomes impossible to tell a story. And you just want to tell a story, so he goes and he tells them in the books.
Yeah.
And they did the same thing in this movie. They were like, instead of just being bogged down by all this other shit, let's just
make it its own canon.
Let's just make it its own canon.
Yeah. No, I think that's the right move.
Yeah. I was curious as to what they were going to do with that. I was like, are we going to get Mike Afton? In which case, there's a lot of theories that Abby was going to be spring-locked in this movie. And I was like, there's no way that's going to happen.
No.
But because in the games, Mike Afton's little sister gets eaten by the animatronic circus baby and then possesses it.
Mm. And that thing was supposed to be Circus Baby, I assumed, right?
It looked a lot like Circus Baby. It looked like a sort of like a proto Circus Baby.
That's what I was thinking.
There was like a half second where I was like, holy shit, are they actually going to do it?
No.
And people were like, and Abby's an anagram for baby, as in Circus Baby. That was the
the way that... Oh, no, they did spell her name with a Y, not an E.
Yeah.
I thought they spelled it A-B-B-E. Under no circumstance did I ever believe that girl was in danger. And if they did do that, I would have stomped out of there. Like, I would have been so mad.
I would have been like, well, they made... There's the tone whiplash.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I thought Josh Hutcherson did a great job. It was funny because right at the beginning of the movie, I was actually like, God, he seems so tired. He's just like totally phoning this in. Oh, it's because of the sleep. His sleep. Okay, never mind. I'm on board. He's doing a good job.
Your eyes are bloodshot.
Yeah, he's tired.
He honestly struck me as a dude who had not slept for days. I don't know if he's a method actor and he like actually kept himself up. I don't think so. But
he started as a kid.
Yeah.
So I seriously doubt it. With that first scene when he like goes to sleep in his bedroom, Emma looked at me and she's like, why Nebraska? And I bit my lip so I wouldn't say, well, he has to go see Mother Abigail.
Can we just like clip a bunch of your stand references into a short for FNAF?
Sure.
I think that sounds really funny.
All right, so let's keep going. Elizabeth Lale plays Vanessa, who is, of course, Vanessa Afton.
Who in the games is not an Afton, is instead a security guard who gets possessed by the AI replica of William Afton's personality.
So I lied. I actually got one thing wrong about this movie.
Yeah.
And it's sort of related to her. I knew that Matthew Lillard was the bad guy. Yeah. And I knew very quickly she was his daughter. I thought that the blonde kid who was Golden Freddy was going to end up to be like her brother. But, I mean, still could be, I guess. But
in the games, yes. Not Vanessa's brother, but William Afton's son is one of the first kids killed, and he gets his head bitten off, or his head chomped down on, and he possesses Golden Freddy until the second Soul Winner's Golden Freddy.
Gotcha.
So
lore
dumps.
Another thing, like you see like Golden Freddy like slumped in a corner, and it's just like the scene where that happens in the Silver Eyes. And it was another moment where I was like, I know what that is.
It's me. I was surprised we didn't get an "It's me." I was expecting Golden Freddy to be Garrett, like Mike Smith's brother, and to get the "It's me" moment where Golden Freddy's trying to talk to his brother. That's what I was waiting for.
That was another. There's another thing I was wrong about. I assumed that Garrett was going to be Golden Freddy.
Yeah.
Until you actually saw the blonde kid.
And it was a separate kid.
Which I don't have him credited here, but that kid did a really good job. He was legitimately creepy. He was like one of the only things that was even slightly scary in this movie.
I made some memes about him when he got cast. Mostly, I put his face over the little kid from Revenge of the Sith going, Mr. Skywalker, what are we going to do? And then I put, like, William Afton's face over Anakin's. He's just, I'm going to kill all you kids.
Oh. Okay, so we started talking about Vanessa, and then we didn't talk about Vanessa.
I think she did a decent job, like, acting-wise. I don't think there was any bad performances in this movie. I think I do agree that a lot of the stuff around her was pretty predictable. At least the way this movie framed it, which is... You know, we talked about, like, the Rotten Tomatoes score. One of my theories is, okay, you got kind of a predictable plot. Sometimes critics don't like that, but they don't want it to be too new. But I'm also sitting there going, well, but the performances are good. The shots aren't bad. Like, in terms of, like, a pure filmmaking perspective, I know what's going on.
Yeah, I mostly enjoyed everything production-wise.
Yeah.
There were a couple CGI shots that were... It's weird, because it's like 98% practical.
But then you get those, like, that 2%.
Yeah, and it's like, obviously, like, some of these action shots, especially with, like, the cupcake, like, you can't do practically. But the CG just stands out so much. We'll talk more.
Yeah.
We'll talk about effects and scary shit. I thought Elizabeth Lale did a good job, and I liked the character. I guess I liked her a lot more earlier in the movie. It was pretty obvious that something was up.
I have a prediction. This is my early FNAF 2 prediction, because this movie's already...
They're going to make 2?
Yeah, this movie's making buku's money. They're going to get their sequel.
Now Scott's going to be like, I'm done. I'm good. And then Jason Blum will hunt him down.
Vanessa's going to wake up and take on the personality of Vanny, which is her villain persona in Security Breach, where she dresses up in a sexy bunny costume and kills people.
I wonder if they'll skip the sexy bunny costume.
Sexy in quotation. It's very form-fitting.
Okay. For my money, the best performance in the movie, Piper Rubio as Abby. Like,
I fucking love this little girl.
She was fantastic.
She was very funny.
Very funny, very genuine. It's weird because they must have looked really hard, because they did get a good group of kids.
Yeah.
Who's the kid who plays Golden Freddy? I should shut up. Grant Feely plays the ghost blonde kid who is Golden Freddy. All the other kids who play like the other...
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they all do good. They don't have speaking roles, so I can't really like judge them as much, but they all do good as well. But particularly Grant Feely and Piper Rubio, they both did amazing jobs. In the character, like, it just worked really well, because it felt like they took a story that you wouldn't expect to find in a FNAF movie. They took, like, something for normies. The older brother who is orphaned and has to take care of his little sister, and they have the greedy
aunt with her great lawyer.
Yeah. The lawyer, it might be, he's close. He's not my king, but he's close.
He was my king until he wasn't my king. And it wasn't because he did something bad, it's just because something better happened.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy's going to be my king.
He was so funny.
I shouldn't be listening to any of this.
Yeah. It didn't feel like a FNAF story, but it was a cute little story to, like, build the FNAF off of.
I liked, she wants to go with her brother to work. I like that it sort of raises the stakes.
He builds her the little fort out of the chairs with the sleeping bag. And
yeah. I thought when she was actually, like, playing with the animatronics, and they built a fort with the animatronics, and then Vanessa comes in exposition dumps, I was like, that's a little goofy, even for me. Everything else, but that wasn't the little girl's fault. That was the scene's fault. The girl herself, and her delivery was so freaking good. Yeah. How else would they make the animatronics move? I was like... and I heard that, and I was like, where's Ryan's laugh? There it is! Yeah, I heard you laugh, because we didn't get to sit together.
No.
But I heard you laugh. I was actually watching this movie going, oh, that's a Ryan joke. There's his laugh!
I laughed a lot.
Yeah.
There were several points where I was the only one laughing, but that's okay.
I was on board with you. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was great. And then Matthew Lillard, of course, plays Steve Raglan.
Dave. I am Springtrap William Afton.
The Purple Man.
The Purple Man.
So, Emma has this friend who has dyed purple hair, always wears purple, like purple shoes, purple shirts, like has purple like accessories, like purple all the time. And we like go out and play Pokemon Go, and their favorite Pokemon is Gengar. It's like the purple Pokemon. Like that friend showed up and was there at the movie. I was like, oh, your friend is here. Duh, he's the Purple Man. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, he's obsessed with the Purple Man. I'm like, oh. I had no idea.
Until the Silver Eyes came out, that's what we called William Afton.
Right.
Because he was a purple sprite. Like, what else do we call him? The game didn't give us a name.
Yeah, he's the Purple Man. I get it.
Yeah.
I wish Matthew Lillard wouldn't have been as advertised for this movie as he was.
That is my biggest disappointment, is he was, like, really sold. And I was like, I'm going to get a movie where he's being creepy for like at least 30 minutes.
He's in less than 10 minutes of the movie.
I don't know how true this is. Somebody told me that they timed it and it was 3 minutes.
I would believe that. He was the one that I was mentioning earlier. I don't think he did a bad job.
He's underutilized.
He's underutilized, and I think for him to be like... I think he needed to go a little harder with Springtrap.
Would have made like 2 changes to the script, and one would be like Garrett scolding Freddy so you get the "it's me" moment. Mm-hmm. And the other would be, I would have Spring Bonnie doing shit to Mike on the first couple of nights. Maybe not like actively attacking him, but like fucking with him a little bit. And like let Matthew Lillard like ad-lib some nonsense. Mm-hmm. So I get like a little bit more.
That's true. Like that didn't occur to me, but they like don't fuck with Mike at all. Like there's the one shot where like Freddy or Foxy is standing in the doorway,
and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But I would have had, because he gives him this job to fuck with him. He's like, oh, I killed your brother. That's funny.
Yeah.
So I would have had him like in the restaurant dressed up as and he just thinks it's another animatronic, and like he's like doing shit in the background.
Yeah.
But you have him say some creepy cryptic shit, and you don't even need like 10 minutes of it. Like 5 extra minutes would probably have been enough.
Yeah.
Those are my like 2 big changes that I do to the script.
More Matthew Lillard, and I would have told Matthew Lillard just go like 10% more. Just
like, do you remember your performance in Scream? I want you to do that.
Yeah.
My mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me.
Because he killed people?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really funny.
Mary Stuart Masterson plays Aunt Jane, which I was disappointed we didn't get to see like a gruesome death for her.
I was also disappointed in that. I knew this movie wasn't going to be gory. I honestly feel like gore might have helped this movie a little bit.
Yeah.
But then you wouldn't have gotten the PG-13 rating.
I feel like they could have went a little further and kept the PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
But
like one of my favorite death in the movie. I'm like, I saw that, I'm like, oh, okay, we can have a death. We can see something happen on screen.
The babysitter?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's really the only one you see.
Yeah, and I'm like, we should have gotten something like that with the aunt.
Yeah, although I did think that she fell asleep line was funny.
It was funny.
Yeah. But I wish we had seen it, because they did a real good job of just making her feel despicable.
She smells like cigarettes.
I don't like her. That's great. And then the babysitter, Kate Connor.
She was fine.
That was the one point. This movie has kind of a low kill count, but she was the one kill where I was kind of like, no, she feels bad about what she's doing. Don't kill her. But then I was also thinking, like, they have to kill her. Or she's like the one person they have to kill. Otherwise, Mike still has a babysitter, and he has no reason to bring Abby to Fazbear's.
And I honestly kind of love her death.
It was fine.
I laughed so fucking hard. I was like, that's funny. I wasn't expecting it to be as over the top as it ended up being.
Yeah, I did not expect her to be bitten in half and then like her torso to go
like just plop on the ground.
Yeah, I was not expecting that, because the rest of them are so tame.
I was expecting her head to get like chomped on and then it to cut away.
Yeah.
And then she like pulled in and it goes crunch.
Because they pan away for every other, I think, is it every other death in the movie that they pan away for?
It was every other death. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm going, guys, I know that this is PG-13, but so is Jaws.
Yeah. Wow.
So is The Ring. You can have a death on screen.
Jaws is PG.
Yeah, Jaws is PG.
Yeah, that was like I said. I think they could have went a little harder and kept the PG-13 rating, but I'm not going to be too critical.
Yeah, I'm like, I wasn't expecting buckets of blood.
No.
But I'm like, just don't cut away. Like, just show the cupcake chomping on the dude's face and show him die.
In Star Wars: The High Republic, there's a character named Buckets of Blood.
What?
He's a Jedi Master who's in charge of training Jedi initiates. His nickname is Buckets of Blood. And then let's just kind of group the animatronics. Just shout out the people who did these. Kevin Foster plays Freddy Fazbear. Jade Kender Martin plays Bonnie, Jessica Weiss plays Chica, and Roger Joseph Manning Jr. plays Foxy. So what were your thoughts on the robots? I'm sorry, the animatronics.
Technically, they're animatronics.
That line was not in the movie, was it?
No.
It was just in the trailer.
It's just in the trailer. I think it got cut.
Yeah.
If it was in there, I didn't get to hear it.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
I heard the line that Josh Hutcherson says that leads into that.
I heard that one. Mm-hmm. But it was seriously just constant talking on 3 different sides of me.
Yeah.
I think the animatronics looked fantastic. Like, I mean, okay, they looked exactly how they're supposed to look.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you take their game models and you're like, how would that look in live action? And Jim Henson's studio's like, here you go.
I mean, they're kind of the shit.
Yeah.
I think what I really liked, and this is something I didn't bitch about in the book episodes, because I figured it was just kind of a me issue. And after watching this movie, I know it was just a me issue. As they're talking about like the spring locks and getting caught in the spring locks and then getting stuck in the suits, in my mind, as I was reading those books, I was never able to just like picture that.
Picture like things piercing into you.
Yeah, because I just couldn't picture what when I thought of spring locks, I was thinking of like joints and like arms, and I couldn't get a good idea of what Scott and Kira were trying to get across.
Trying to describe it.
But I figured like, oh, people who play the games probably know exactly what that is, and this is probably just a me thing, so I'm not going to bring it up. But now after seeing this movie, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, it's giant things that will hook inwards and become a robot. Mm-hmm. So that the thing can function as a robot on its own, but also be worn.
I will say, though, I thought Foxy looked a little small to have a body inside.
Yeah. It's rotted away by now.
Yeah, but, I mean, like, was Foxy bigger when they put a body in there?
He was the smallest kid.
Yeah, okay. Maybe they put that, like, the little girl with the pigtails, maybe she could scrunch up in there. No, because she's Chica. She's Chica.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know that.
Yeah. Well, no, I knew it, too, because Black Kid has the rabbit ears, so he's blind.
They're like, we need to let you guys know which one's which.
This kid has a hook, so he's Foxy. This kid has a top hat, so he's Freddy.
That was almost my Koontz.
The one girl is Chica.
Yes, was like them like spelling that out, but then also the Foxy jump scare in the dream. That was almost my Koontz.
I'll kill you all. I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all. I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Let's jump to scary shit. Was this movie scary?
No.
No.
To be honest, no. Not scary for me. It might be scary for anyone else.
Getting your child being abducted at a park is scary.
Yeah.
But was this movie scary? No.
Did it present that in like a way that makes you feel that it's happening?
Not particularly, no.
But this was supposed to be a date night for me and Molly, and she was going to bring her 6-year-old kid. And at first I was like, I don't know if you should take a 6-year-old to a PG-13.
I think it would have been fine.
And now after seeing it, I'm like, no. She asked me, I'm like, yeah, take her to it. It's great. Like, she'll have a good time. Let her wear her daughter dressed up as Glamrock Freddy for Halloween.
That's funny.
I'm like, take her in Glamrock Freddy. And
this is what I told Hef. I think it's like one step further than Goosebumps.
Yeah,
maybe a step and a half.
It's like a well-budgeted Goosebumps episode.
Yeah.
Like if they had a budget.
We've been talking about the effects.
I do like how heavy they felt.
Yeah, you got a good sense of their weight.
Which, lets you kind of think of like, yeah, if those things were chasing you throughout like a locked place, that would kind of suck.
I think the sound design with the effects and the was a good credit to that. And obviously, like the things themselves, the animatronics or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Was there any bad effects that you didn't like in this?
Just a couple like CG things with the cupcake.
Yeah.
That just looked awkward, but like honestly, what else could they have done? Like they use the cupcake a lot. So, and it couldn't just be like sitting there, like they had to have it move. So like when it leaps off the tray into the fridge, that was CG and it stood out.
Yeah.
because all the rest of it is practical.
In terms of costuming, I really liked Spring Bonnie. I was like, and his eyes were silver, not red, you know, and how he danced out of the corner. I was like, man, I just kind of really wanted more of that. I really would have just liked like 10 more minutes of him just messing with Mike.
Yeah, or just even the other ones messing with Mike towards the beginning.
Yeah, even if it's just shit in the background or like trying to break in the office.
Pirates Cove is a different room to the main party room, isn't it?
No, they're all in the same room, but it's like its own stage.
Okay, all right.
So like you have one camera that looks at Pirates Cove and one that looks at the main stage.
I think it was actually the books that gave me the idea that it was a different room.
Because they get dragged back into Pirates Cove.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure. And not that I would care if they changed that, but...
I did kind of like that one shot where like the ghost of Foxy like steps out, looks at Abby, steps back into the shadows, it comes back out as the animatronic. Like, oh, okay, that's kind of visually interesting in terms of shots.
And then just like other production things, which we normally talk about under scary shit. I like the music. I particularly like the music for like the opening titles and credits. I thought and I like the animations that they used for the...
I was so happy they did 8-bit animations for the opening.
I thought that was really cool. Fazbear Pizza itself, I thought the set was really good. Honestly, I thought maybe it could have looked a little dirtier, but I guess they were still using it. Like, Afton was still there. He still had actively paying security people to be there and not take care of it, but...
Just to get killed periodically.
Yeah. Like in the... Okay, maybe this is just me again, but like in the books and like the Silver Eyes, I was picturing it to be a lot more run down than it was in the movie.
Dingy.
Yeah.
Even in the first game, it's super dingy and gross.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Would you have danced with Vanessa?
Hell yeah.
Me too.
Oh my god, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Kings and Koontz, what is your king for Five Nights at Freddy's?
I don't know.
I guess all the Balloon Boy jump scares that were funny, especially at the end. And wait, no, it's actually the Freddy chomping off that woman's body halfway. That was the most glorious scene as well.
My actual like in-movie king is just the production value. I think the animatronics looked fantastic. I think they moved the way they should have been moving. And that just, it shows a lot of care went into it, and Jim Henson Studios deserves any bit of praise they're getting for it.
I mean, Jim Henson Studios.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My sort of meta king is, my bitching aside, people actively enjoying movies is something that I do, that I actively encourage. So people were there and they had a good time.
Yep. They did. They did indeed. It was a bite of 87!
Yeah.
My king in movie... definitely Piper Rubio, who played Abby. I thought she was just fantastic. I think once she started talking, she stole basically every scene she was in. My meta king and my meta Koontz are the same thing. It's the audience.
Okay, that's also my meta Koontz.
Yeah, I mean...
It's... Yeah, have your moment, but then shut up and let me, like, watch the movie.
Like, I don't know. I know I said this. I don't know if we were recording. I was able to just kind of get on board with the audience, like, within the first, like, 5-10 minutes and just, like, whatever. Let's just roll with it. It's fine. If it would have been a movie I cared more about, I would have been infinitely pissed.
There's a certain level of just, like, decorum that I expect in theaters. Even when it's something big. I think we talked about this on our way out, how we've done some stupid shit in movies.
Yeah.
But I sat there and I thought about it when I'm driving with Derek. I'm like, what's the dumbest fucking thing we've ever done in the theater? And the only thing I could come up with was Pi getting kicked out of the movie theater.
Well, that was Pi.
For screaming. And I'm like, other than that, I'm like...
I can think of a worse one than Pi getting kicked out.
Yeah.
It was Kip, actually. Do you remember when we saw Clash of the Titans?
Oh no.
Thankfully, I think there was, like, 5 people in that theater.
Yeah.
Otherwise, something bad may have happened, but yeah.
But I just expect a certain level of decorum, and I'm like, guys, like, I'm really not trying to start a fight here.
I want to watch the movie. I want to hear the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
FNAF fans already have a very poor reputation, even amongst other fandoms.
Yep.
And I'm like, you guys are like compared to like the Sonic fan base, and the Sonic fan base let me enjoy the movie. Oh, what's your Koontz?
People screaming in my ear.
Just a real stupid thing that kind of took me out of it. When Springtrap kicks Mike and he does that slow motion like roll through the air like it's a Jason Statham movie. I was like, what the fuck?
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Mine is just, I was like, I wanted more I feel like I was advertised more Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
And I got like 3 minutes of Matthew Lillard.
Yeah. I think it would have just been better. Like, they didn't need to worry about selling tickets. I think it maybe would have even be better if they didn't advertise him at all and then he just shows up.
They also made the mistake of announcing who he was and then trying to pretend like months later, oh no, he's not William Afton.
Well, who else would he be?
Yeah, we're like, you already told us.
Yeah.
He signed on to a 3-movie deal. You said he's playing the villain. We might get that I Am Springtrap line.
Great. We're going to rankings. I think it's definitely going to be higher for me than I would have thought this morning.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not going to be like in my top 10 or anything.
Where's my Cocaine Bear on here?
Cocaine Bear is number 21.
I honestly think that's about the spot. It's either going to be right below or right above Cocaine Bear. I think I'm going to put it right below Cocaine Bear.
So it's your new number 22, below Cocaine Bear, and above X.
Because I got like a big Cocaine Bear sort of vibe from this movie.
Yeah, but Cocaine Bear is just so much more outrageous.
Yeah.
But, of course, Cocaine Bear is not for kids.
Yeah.
It's definitely not in the bottom grossness. It's a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. It's my new number 23.
We put it damn near in the same spot.
Yeah. Below the original Blob and above the 2 Mermaid Saga OVAs. Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable experience. It was a funny movie.
Yeah. Zombie Day, were there like Easter eggs that you can point out to us?
Oh god. Okay, the spring lock suit that they were gonna put Abby in kind of looked like Circus Baby.
Oh, what's the stupid little
Balloon Boy?
Yeah,
that was in there a bunch of times. That should have been my Koontz. The first one I was like, oh okay, it's a funny little jump scare reference, but they did it 3 freaking times.
I didn't jump at any of those, and I just like, what's that?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I also didn't jump, but that's what they did it as a jump scare.
Yeah.
Matt Pat was in the movie. The game theory dude. You had a few Let's Players in this.
There were more than 2?
The cab driver's the only other one I can think of.
So yeah, just those 2.
I'm going to see a YouTube video in my feed tomorrow. It's like the 20 references you may have missed.
Oh yeah. These types of movies always have. Oh my god, the Mario Brothers movie is just like drowning in Easter eggs. I called so many of them, and then I watched one of those videos, and I was like, oh, I missed that. Oh, I missed that.
Is Mario's original girlfriend in it?
No, but Jumpman is in it as a separate character.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's voiced by the Mario voice actor.
Oh, that's cool.
And Mario's voice actor also voices Mario and Luigi's dad.
That's really cute.
Yeah. This week, our versus is Freddy Jones of Scooby-Doo fame versus, of course, his ultimate nemesis,
Freddy
Faz. And I was thinking, like, this could continue. There's Freddy Krueger. There's Freddie Mercury.
We could do it in brackets.
Yeah. Okay. Further reading. Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah, if you want like the R version of this movie, I guess.
Game theory videos.
Game theory video. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're into that kind of stuff, you're probably already watching this movie, or vice versa. The Goosebumps movie, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so good. We watched it last week. I love it. It's so good.
If you like this, I'm probably just gonna say watch a horror comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. Scream.
Scream.
Oh,
yeah, I feel like Matthew Lillard was the reason for seeing this.
Okay, upcoming on the Horror Babylon this Sunday, we are kicking off Season 3 by revisiting The Stand by Stephen King with Mr. Heff. Then the next Sunday, we are wrapping up The Exorcist with the 2 Exorcist prequel films. We're going to do both in one episode. And then our next book episode will be on Sunday, November 19th, where we review Battle Royale by Koshun Takami. And then for bonus episodes, we're releasing 2 bonus episodes this upcoming week. On Halloween, we're going to drop our 2-year anniversary show. And then the next 3 Thursdays are going to be the first 3 episodes of the Deadite-a-thon with The Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. Thank you to Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben, the Fourth Patron of Hope, and Mia the Fifth, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain, yo.
And for Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at shop.forhorsemancomics.com, and I'm way too tired to come up with anything stupid to say about Ronald III, Grampus of Christmas.
He's killed children.
He smells kitty litter or something.
Yeah.
I forget what exactly it was.
I am also kind of tired.
Yeah,
I forgot to feed my dad's cats today, so I have to go do that after this.
Oh, we'll get you out of here so those cats can eat.
Yeah.
Thank you for going to see Five Nights at Freddy's with me, but not seeing Five Nights at Freddy's with me.
You're welcome.
Thank you to our patrons. Stay tuned for our socials and stay scary.
Stay scary, everybody. Freddy Pass.
Go watch it. It might not scare me, but it'll definitely scare you.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/The Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.
Hello, I am a fellow kid who is excited to see the FNAF movie. Not gonna say my specific name, because that would be too much information for me.
Do you want to tell how old you are?
No, that's too much.
Okay.